So what if I told you that in a national census, a government's most important population count, nearly 4 out of 10 people in a key group were completely missed? Some say it's a bureaucratic failure. Others think it's political. But either way, this is not just a numbers game. It's a visibility crisis. These are people who live here, work here, pay rent here, but according to the data, they don't exist. Now, that's frustrating to hear. How does one of the most advanced countries in the world lose track of hundreds of thousands of residents? Is it incompetence or something more deliberate? Because behind that, 38% are real people. They are students, workers, families. They rely on public services just like the rest of us. Today, we're breaking down exactly what happened and why the 2021 Canadian census missed so many people. We'll explore what the public is really saying, from outrage to suspicion, and what it tells us about the state of trust in our government. And more importantly, we'll talk about what that means for you, your community, and Canada's future. Hi there, this is Claudia Ragona. I'm one of the Ragona Sisters, and today we're diving into the surprising truth behind one of Canada's biggest data blind spots. So let's start with the basics. So let's start with 2021. Stats Canada admitted that nearly 4 out of 10 non-permanent residents in Canada were missed in the national census. That's over 38%, close to 40%. Not miscounted, not delayed, just missing. And that includes international students, temporary foreign workers, asylum seekers, post-grad workers, people living legally in Canada. They contribute to the economy, they pay their rent, they ride the bus, and fill jobs in healthcare, construction, restaurants, and so many other jobs. Now imagine building a nation's policy, housing strategies, or healthcare systems without counting almost 40% of this growing group. And here's the worst part. This isn't even something new. In 2016, the number was even worse. It was 45%. So it's been trending like this for years, which means this isn't a fluke. It's clearly systematic. So why are so many people missed? Many non-permanent residents live in shared housing, student dorms, or rentals with high turnover. So that makes mail-based or household-based census outreach more difficult, I guess. Then there's language barriers. That matters. Many NPRs don't speak fluent English or French, and they may not understand their obligation to complete the census. And some simply just don't know what they're supposed to fill out. They assume the census is for permanent residents and citizens only. Others move often between jobs or cities, and they fall through the cracks because the census assumes people stay put. And let's be honest, fear plays a role as well. Some people, even if they are legal, might feel uncomfortable handing their personal data to a government they don't fully trust. So it all adds up to one simple truth. The way we count people is clearly outdated. It's designed for 20th century Canada, not the mobile, digital, multicultural country we live in today. But see, this isn't just about outdated forms. This is about the consequences of being unseen. And let's talk about what breaks when the census fail. Hospitals are funded based on population. Undercounts mean understaffing. So when your emergency room has a 9-hour wait, it's not just bad luck, it's probably bad data. Schools get overcrowded because planners are using population figures that are too low. That's why you probably see kids learning in portables while new schools lag years behind growth. Housing is the most visible crisis. If census data says 1 million people live in a particular city, but it's more like 1.2 million people live there, the government will underbuild. Demand exceeds supply, rent rises, people get pushed out, transit systems can't keep up because funding doesn't match real ridership. And that probably explains why you are on the bus in the morning and it's packed every morning. It's probably because planners didn't count the 38% of fellow commuters. Food banks, shelters, daycare support, they all get government grants based on census estimates. So if your neighborhood isn't fully counted, your community gets less. And here's one most people don't think about: democracy. Electoral districts are drawn using census data. So if a fast-growing area with lots of newcomers is undercounted, it gets less political representation. That means fewer voices in parliament and less power to advocate for change. But there's a deeper layer to this, and that is trust. When the government can't even count who's in the country, how can it be trusted to manage immigration and deliver services or plan for the future? People are asking these real hard questions. If we know who's working here and who's renting apartments and who's filing taxes, why can't we count those missing people? It makes the system look not just broken, but dishonest. And some people, they think it's just simple incompetence. Others think it's a strategy that the government wants to downplay the real numbers to avoid controversy around immigration and growth. And whether this is true or not, the effect is the same. People stop trusting the numbers. And when people stop trusting the numbers, they stop trusting the policies built on those numbers. Then they stop trusting the politicians behind those policies. And that's where we get cynicism, polarization, and political apathy. That's when a functioning democracy starts to crack. Stats Canada didn't hide the 38% figure, but they also haven't committed to fixing it either. There's no urgent plan, no legislative push, no system-wide update. And that silence is loud because it says we see the problem, but we're not moving. And that's not good enough, especially when population growth is accelerating and it's not slowing down. In 2022, Canada added over 1 million new people, and most of them came from temporary and permanent immigration. And yet, we still can't count people properly. This brings us to the hard question. Should immigration be slowed down until we get a handle on data accuracy? Some say yes, and it's not because they're against immigration, but because you can't manage what you don't measure. Others say pausing would cause economic harm and unfairly punish people who are playing by the rules. But here's the truth. Immigration and data policy must work hand in hand. You can't expand the population without expanding your ability to plan for that population. Otherwise, you're building a plane in midair with no instruments. It's reckless and unfair, both to immigrants and to citizens. And this isn't just political failure, it's a planning failure. And planning failures always become people's problems. If you're Canadian born and think this doesn't affect you, well, think again. You are the one in the ER. Your child is in a crowded school. You're the one competing for a house. You're trying to get a job. This affects everybody because this isn't about citizens versus non-citizens. It's about whether your government sees reality or guesses at it. So how do we fix this? I was actually reading a report on this, and here are a few suggestions. First, integrate the systems. If everyone has a work or study permit, that data already exists. Link it to census records. Automate inclusion. Second, modernize the census. Move beyond paper. Use digital follow-ups. Mobile-based check-ins. Real-time data syncing. Third, partner with communities. Use local leaders and cultural groups, universities, employers, people who can actually reach the population that is missed. Fourth, invest in transparency. Make the undercount data public. Report the progress. Admit setbacks. That's how you rebuild trust. Fifth, tie immigration levels to capacity. It's not about cutting numbers, it's about responsible scaling. If we plan for 500,000 new people, we need to know where they're going to live, how they're going to get cared for, how their kids will be educated. Data isn't a technical issue, it's a human rights issue, because without data, you can't build equity, you can't deliver justice, you can't govern effectively. A census is supposed to reflect who we are. But right now, it's reflecting who used to be. So clearly, it's time to close the gap, because behind every missing number is a real person, and every real person deserves to be counted. So what do you guys think? Should Canada pause immigration until we fix our data systems? Should the census be rebuilt from the ground up? Or is this a sign of a much deeper problem? A government that's no longer fit to plan for its people? I don't know. Drop your thoughts in the comment. Share this with someone who cares about fairness, transparency, and truth, because we can't fix what we won't face. Let me know, guys. I don't know. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.